Oh my god. We're done. We're done. We're finally done. It's over. It's over, and Lang bricked his Awakened Enlighten. Everything's going according to plan. Everything's perfect. Well, we did it. 100 Simulacrums. And if your question was it worth it? Well, on currency, a definite yes. On my sanity, a definite no. At this point, my life just feels gray and empty, and I'm not sure any sort of currency can actually make up for that. But before we go into how much I made, we actually have to set some ground rules. Number one, we didn't do any gambling because gambling will actually skew our results. We pop one of the stack decks, we get a House of Mirror, and all of a sudden everything's kind of like skewed because that is not supposed to happen. Or yeah, we turn in a div card and we get a random 10 exalted stack from a void. So this is completely out of the question. All incubators were ran because incubators are basically very deterministic. They're not really that random. Also, as for gem XP, because a lot of your money will come from gem XP, I didn't go overboard on it. My Sparker is not set up to level more than my offhand, right? So we had 9 offhand gems leveled all the time, but we didn't go for like 15 to 20 like some other builds can. As well as that, the gems we ran were pretty average. Now, there is some expensive ones like Awakened Greater Multiple Projectiles. I think I have 2 or 3 of these. I just put all the exalts that I have, but most of these are around about like 20 chaos to 1 exalt. And on top of that, we did go overboard on Megalomaniacs. I know a lot of people who overprice their Megalomaniacs and then pretend like they made like 100 exalts in it. We don't do that. Usually what we do is we kind of do like an average. So if I have like 100 Megalomaniacs here, and these are like ones that I don't know if they're going to sell, we're going to pretend like 5-ish of them are going to sell for an exalt. The rest is just going to lie here forever. And then we put out some of the really, really good ones that we're going to talk about. But yeah, these are just the ground rules. Let's get into it. Obviously, won't go over every item, but some things that are just a little bit outside the realm that might be interesting, I'm going to comment on. Number one, you get a ton of exalted shards in Simulacrum. Of these, I think only 9 were natural exalted drops, and the rest were all exalted shards from Harbinger rewards. I think they also dropped from currency rewards. I kind of forgot. I don't know. A shit ton of Awakened Sextants. And as you can see here, 3,000 stack decks. Now, a lot of those were also from incubators. I would say around about 500 of them were from incubators. A ton of Ancient Orbs, which we're going to gamble on stream most likely. Other than that, they didn't really drop that much, but there were a lot of 6 links overall that we vendored. All the ones that are bad, we're going to look at the other ones later. As I said, I really didn't turn any of these in. We're going to do that later as well. Now, one thing I want to mention is one of the new divination cards that came out, and that is Darker Half. This is actually 60 chaos per, and these apparently drop from Simulacrums and Delirium Mirrors only. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but they drop like crazy in here. As you can see here, almost every 5th Simulacrum dropped one of those. And I was kind of surprised. At first, I thought it was just a random reward, but no, it is apparently a Simu-specific reward. Other than that, obviously, it's not just full stacks. We also got quite a bit of exalted cards here. Alluring Bounty, Abandoned Wealth. I don't think I dropped anything better than Alluring Bounty. Maps overall were kind of crazy. You drop a lot of Vault Temples. In total, these are only the shitty T16 ones. We have some unique maps, quite a few of them. They sometimes sell in bulk, but I didn't really count them. We got quite a few of these in total. I think this is more than they used to be. Maybe they buffed something there. And this is the one we favored. We favored Glacier. We also got some tropical islands that I had at the start. These are worth a little bit more, so it does actually respect the Atlas, of course. Now, fossils overall, fossils kind of get carried by dense fossils this patch because of Cosmo Image Taken builds. We got a few Prime Codic Resonators, but overall, fossils just aren't worth as much anymore. Essences are too common and it's too easy to get them. Big money maker, as we all know, is Scarabs. Just to give you some info, there is a Scarab, actually a Scarab recipe. Let's go to my other currency tab. Where is it? Like here. And let's put that in that you can do. And this is also something we're going to do with all the bad ones. Now I get a random one. And for example, Rusted Harbinger Scarab is a chaos. And you can do this just with an inventory full, and you have it in like 10 minutes. And then you converted all the bad ones. Where's the test one? Then you can convert all the bad ones to good ones, which I haven't done here, but it's another avenue to get even more out of it. Scarabs, nothing really surprising. A ton of breach stones. Yeah, these here. These are actually worth quite a bit in bulk, funnily enough. Obviously, nothing here. Now, if we go over oils, I was actually quite surprised by oils. These aren't even that bad. They kind of sell okay-ish. Catalysts are kind of huge. As always, if you don't know, you can actually vendor these as well, from the bad ones into the good ones. If you vendor, I think 3. Yeah, 3 ones, you get a new one. So you can kind of fish for the good ones, which is Fertile and Prismatic. Essences, I just turned them all into Deafenings, but they only drop as Screamings. I hid the bad ones from my filter because I didn't want to click that much. I just wanted to go. Overall, these have been okay-ish. Nothing special. Next up, gems. In total, we got actually 5 enlightens, which was pretty surprising. 3 enhances and no empowers. I don't know what's happening. We got quite a few 21s. For example, Forbidden Right. This goes for an Exalt. This one apparently goes for like 140 chaos. So overall, we only picked up stuff that's like 20C or more. We didn't want to sell too much. At least I don't want to. These are from incubators. Then we have breach rings, which if you weren't aware, you can vendor 60 breach rings for a grasping mail. Now these can have special mods. There's 2 mods that are worth a lot, and that is 100% global defense and increased attack speed per 25 dexterity. So if you don't have these enabled on your filter, please do that right now. Even if you don't want to hand them in, they sell on TFT for roundabout 2 to like 7 to 9 chaos, depending on item level and how many you have. We have split personalities. Split personalities are really, really bad this league. I don't know, they're just dropping like candy because Simulacrum has 30 waves and you get a ton of them. There are some that are worth a little bit more than others. I think the big ones were Strength Intelligence and Intelligence Maximum Energy Shield. Everything else was around 15 to 20 chaos. I did not count anything that was under that, so these are not going to be sold. They also are not in the calculation. As for Megalomaniacs, as I already said, all of these, they're around 100. I basically said, okay, we're going to take like 5 of these, which are going to sell. Now, I definitely missed something. You don't know. Sometimes there's very weird combinations that people just buy up. Like, you know it. If you make your own builds, sometimes you need very specific Megalomaniacs. And if there's only one online and it's overpriced, you're like, I might as well take it. And on top of that, we got some good ones like this one here, with Mortifying Aspect and Wish for Death, which is very strong. Wish for Death in general is extremely strong. This one, I don't know what to do with, but for example, for a Blade Vortex, a Poison Blade Vortex, this is basically GG, flow of life, eternal suffering, overwhelming malice, absolutely insane. This one is Unspeakable Gifts, people want Explodey, and also the Uncompromising for the mana reservation. Blast, Freeze, and Master of Fear are very interesting. This is, I think, for Ice Spear. This would be very strong. Now, this one here is, I don't know what to do with this one. It's pure might, pure aptitude. I'm not even sure if aura stackers would be interesting in something like that. Now, small tip for everybody who has problems pricing their Megalomaniacs. It is all about small cluster notables. Now, small clusters are very hard to get into a build because it means you have to give up a jewel socket, and jewel sockets are incredible, right? So what you have to realize is if you can knock 2 small cluster notables that you need out on a Megalomaniac, that is insane. So that's number one. And then there's also some large clusters, notables like Cold to the Core or anything that explodes. There's some more specific ones. It's not that easy, but overall the small cluster notables are insane. As for voices, well, we didn't drop a single 3 or 1 passive. We got these 5s, which I calculated at 10 to 15 chaos, whatever they're worth. These I didn't price at all because they're just going to be vendored. It is what it is. Sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them. I got a Val Regalia, what was it, 84 here. Now, most of these were actually from incubators, but we also dropped a Belly of the Beast. There's also 6 link, just straight up rewards. This one is worth quite a bit because we have a perfect armor roll, a perfect life roll. I did not demine this, it just dropped like this. Brisk Wrap is sellable. These are sellable. I don't know if they don't sell, I'm just going to vendor them at some point. In terms of uniques, the only thing we dropped were 2 Aegis Aurora. We also dropped some other stuff like a Shavs, but we kind of had to vendor it because it was not even worth 10 chaos. 7 Leak Steps. The Venter's Gamble is terrible, so I just put it up for whatever the base is worth. As for cluster jewels, there's nothing really too interesting here. There's a few ones that are really, really strong, like 12 passive colds, 12 passive spell damage. Most of these are just around about 15 to 30 chaos. And then there's 2 that kind of stand out, which is number 1, the free passive mana reservation efficiency with item level 84. This is what all the aura stackers are using. And then you also have the thing that the ward boys are using, right? The cost and damage taken build, which is the flask effect duration, I-84, and 6 passives. All right, now to the currency breakdown. Number 1, currency tab. This is a lot, and that's also because the stack decks are in this tab right here. Just to be clear, we have Scarabs, which is number 2. Gems XP, which is number 3. Like I said, this very much depends on how much currency you have to invest. If you have more currency to invest, if your build is made to run on only 8 to 10 gems and you can throw everything else in there and just level like crazy. If you have, I don't know, a few hundred exalts lying around and you can invest in Awakened, Empower, Enlighten, stuff like that, this can quickly grow to like 300 exalts or something. We just took something very normal. As for Megalomaniacs, this is very, very low estimation, but if something doesn't sell, I don't want that to drag down the calculation. Maps were actually 33.2x. Now, I already did this twice before in the leagues before, and one thing that I noticed is that maps have gone way, way, way better in Simulacrum, and that's mostly also because maps are actually worth something this league. And because the sustain isn't as good as it usually is. And also there's way more Conqueror and Elder and Shaper maps dropping, just to be clear. Also, Vault Temple is actually worth something. As for diff cards, basically as always, gems were quite good. I got a little lucky here, but so I dropped 5 Enlightens. Yeah, 5 Enlightens. But other than that, I also dropped 0 voices, as you can see down here. Now, as for fossils, pretty much as always, catalysts, essences, fragments. This is basically all the non-scarab stuff in the fragment tab. So that is this here, the breach stuff, and yeah, that's basically it. Other than that, what do we have? Clusters, 9.9 exalts. Breach rings. Now these are basically priced off of TFT prices. This is actually already something I'm going to turn in on stream, but this is what it would be worth if it was sold. The 6-link split personalities were a lot worse than usual, I will say that. Oils, pretty bad. Artifacts from the incubators. Recombinator fodder, I just assumed 2 exalts. It might be more, it might be less. We don't know. Uniques, very disappointing. As always, Aegis was basically the only saving grace. And voices were a complete letdown for a total of 491.2 exalts. All right, then let's see how much money we made. Number 1, we assumed X is 182 chaos. That is what it is as of this recording. Otherwise, you can reconsider. 4,000 chaos is what we put in. This is what we paid 6 days ago. As of this recording, it's actually even cheaper than that. They're just so easy to make. Our investment was 22 exalts. So if we subtract that from what we made up here, that is a 469.2 exalts. So that comes out to a profit per simulacrum of 4.69 exalts. And if we put that into time, so our average time that we needed for simulacrums was 25 minutes. That is on a character that's basically made for simulacrums. So we had just assumed 30 minutes because obviously downtime, trading time, stuff like that. Now, total time spent, so we said basically 50 hours because we did 2 simus per hour. And that comes out to a total of 9.4 exalts per hour. So to give that number a little bit more context, I want to give a little bit more info on that. I had a min-maxed Spark character that gets around about 6 rewards on average. That is also while not being attentive and talking to chat and something, because otherwise I would have gone crazy running 100 simulacrums. So that's basically something. If you're only going to get like 5 rewards or even 4 rewards, that might be like 50% less or 20% less rewards, just so you know. Next up, what you have to realize is when it comes to gem leveling, the rich get richer. If you had 1,000 exalts, right, and you could replace, if we look at the gems here, if you could replace, wait, where was it? Over here. If you could replace these 20 to 1x Awaken gems with Awaken Empowers, Awaken Enlightens, or all of them Awaken GMP, Awaken Multi-Strike, I mean, your margins would be so much higher. You don't even have to risk double corrupting them, just selling them at level 5. This strategy can go completely through the roof. If you want to make like 14 exalts or something, this is the rich get richer strategy. And then I have to say, simulacrums are kind of boring. That is obviously subjective. Seeing gray all day, I hate it. I honestly hate it, but yeah, it's fine for a little bit. I don't want to have anything to do with Simulacrum for the next few months, but yeah. Also, something that is a bit of a misconception is people think it's you have very long selling times with Simulacrums. Now, granted, if you do not want to trade on TFT at all, this is probably not going to be your strat. I'm just going to say that straight up. But other than that, most of the things you get are currencies or fragments or stuff like that, which you can actually sell in bulk. That's no problem. There's only very little items that you have to price each, and then you just discard the ones that are worth not that much. These you just throw into a tab. These you can sell in bulk, and these you just throw into a tab. But yeah, so I don't think it's actually that much trading time. I will say running glaciers was actually more trading time. Sentinels give way more random rewards, I would say, that you sometimes even have to price. But as for Simulacrum, I didn't feel like it's that bad. I've done this 2 times before, but we're gonna see. And then at the end, the probably biggest misconception. So while I was streaming the 100 Simulacrum challenge, I had so many people coming in. Are you even getting your money back in Simulacrum? How do you make money? I don't understand. You're only getting these small currencies, right? They see me pick up 10 breach splinters here, 10 breach splinters there. And the thing you have to realize is big drops do not matter. If you, for example, look at my fragment tab here, you can see what's happening, right? It's like you pick up a lot of small stuff and it adds up. You sell everything in bulk. There's going to be somebody who buys like 217 rusted expedition scarabs. There's going to be somebody who buys all of those. These are like 1 trade each. You have to think about it like that. If you don't know how to bulk sell, I will leave a video down in the description to give you a little bit context on that. I made that like, I think a few months ago, but it is still perfectly viable. As you can see here, this is without getting a voices. Obviously, if you get a voices, that is huge. But if we think about the big drops, I think my biggest drops in total were Megalomaniacs. But if we went for safe stuff, Enlighten was probably the biggest thing I dropped, and it is 2 Exalts. If you put all of these in the grand scheme of things, that's probably like 1 or 2% of everything we got. So I guess that's what I want to let you take away from this video. Overall, it was fun because I was streaming and I talked to chat, but overall, I will say that you better have some podcasts to listen to or have to do some side stuff like uni or whatever. Otherwise, this is going to get boring real quick, I think, overall. I prefer Glaciers, so if you haven't checked that out, definitely check that out right now. It was also a little bit more currency, although some people like to do harder content, and for those people, Simulacrum will be better. But that's it for the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe. As always, a huge shout out to my Twitch subscribers and my Patreons. I couldn't do videos like this without you. Thank you so much for the support. And yeah, that's it. I don't have to do anything anymore. We're going to sell these tomorrow. We're going to turn in all the stacked decks. My wrists are probably going to cry, but that's fine. We're going to turn in all the divination cards. We're going to see what we get from the breach rings. It's going to be hype. If you want to check it out, you might see this video later. So obviously then it's already done. So maybe don't. I don't know. But with that being said, since I still don't have a slogan, see you next time.